There are 3 countries in Africa which have formed a NATO-style alliance. These countries, unsurprisingly, are a part of the Sahel region, one of the most disturbed and tumultuous region in the world. Which countries are these? Are other countries set to become a part of it? We are going to delve into all of this. From the perspective of GS Mains Paper Second, from the perspective of your preliminary examination, mapping, this particular class is very important. So let's begin. Also, I would like to suggest not to make notes because I provide the notes through my Telegram channel. That is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination or anything else, you can talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on Threads. So these 3 countries are Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. These 3 countries have formulated the Alliance of Sahel States. Sahel is a region which you can think of like Afghanistan. It is the equivalent of Afghanistan, both in climatology and the ethnic situation over there. So Sahel countries are disturbed, and out of the disturbed Sahel countries, Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, which are under coup right now, they have formulated a pact. And this pact is NATO styled. There is an article which has a semblance with Article 5 of the NATO. We will talk about that. And this defense alliance is the Alliance of Sahel States. I would like to suggest all of you that if you're looking for a good batch for UPSC 2024, we are giving you another evening batch that will start from 22nd of September. These batches will be live again, and of course from the perspective of not only pre and mains but also the interviews, this batch is going to help you a lot. Now, if I talk about the GS that will be prepared other than the CSAT, essay, ethics, language papers, prelims test series, mains test series, daily answer writing practice, study material, a StudyIQ campus program is also here. That means if you qualify UPSC 2024 and you are a part of any of the P2I batch, you will be called to the StudyIQ campus to prepare for the mains examination free of any extra charges. You have to make sure that you use the code PDLive so that you can get a discount. Actual price is 70,000, but it will be 29,999 only. PDLive is also applicable to other courses. Now, Sahel. What does the word Sahel mean? It means coast or shore. It comes from the Arabic word Sahil. And it stretches from, as you can see, this is a group of countries that stretches from the Atlantic Ocean, the coastline of the Atlantic Ocean, to the Red Sea. And you see that there are so many countries over here: Mauritania, Senegal, we have Mali, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Chad, Sudan. Out of these many Sahel countries, Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, these are the 3 countries that have developed this alliance for Sahel security or a defense pact for it. Now, it is yet to be seen how many countries of the Sahel will join this particular grouping, because this is just like NATO. I will talk about the article as well. It is at the southern rim of the Sahara Desert. It is we can call it a transition area between savanna and Sahara. Sahara is a deserted area. Savanna are the evergreen forest. So we can call it that it is tropical semi-arid. And this tropical semi-arid region is very disturbed. For what reasons? We will talk about that. Now, G5 Sahel, the core group of Sahel countries, include the countries of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, and also one more country, Mauritania. Now, these G5 countries, what is G5 Sahel? G5 Sahel is actually a grouping that was launched back in 2017. And this grouping was launched by the former colonial power over here, France, Germany, and the European Union, so that these colonial powers can have a proxy or a situationship with these particular countries. Because no country which has, lost a ground in some other country as a colonial power, they will never give it away completely. And Africa is one of the disturbed regions in the world. That is why France is still operating there, and there is a lot of, we can call it, protests against France's position here. Moving on. You see now G5 is almost dead because Mali, it withdrew out of the G5. Still, you have to keep in mind who are the G5 because a question can be asked. I asked you one question of prelims in my last class. Many of you have answered it correctly and I will take your names by the end of this class. Stay tuned, you will get another question related to this. You will answer it correctly and I will take up your names again. So geographical conditions are one of the biggest issue here. As I told you, it's like an equivalent of Afghanistan. The geographical terrain is so that no central authority has been able to control the overall or the complete extent of this region, like Afghanistan. So we saw that certain democratically elected countries are operating at some places in the Sahel region. Certain countries are under military coup. So no one particular group has been able to have a central authority. And when there is a central vacuum, power vacuum, what happens? Armed groups, terrorist groups, militancy, all these are given a birth to. And that is happening in the Sahel region also. And jihadist violence erupted after a rebellion in northern Mali in 2012, and then it also went to Niger and Burkina Faso. The problem is that because there is a lack of power vacuum, the militants, terrorist groups and armed groups are able to cross international borders without any check. And that is why the jihadist militancy, it could flow to these many regions. Now, several anti-jihadist military operations were launched in Sahel. If we talk about France's operation, France's first operation was Operation Serval, and that was a success. It was a success to control half of the Mali, and France could do it because of Operation Serval. On the success of Operation Serval, they were able to launch another operation, Operation Barkhane, and that was launched in 2014. It was working. The entire situation was working. The entire operation was working from the capital of Chad. Later on, it was a failure. We will talk about that. Now, when a coup happened in Mali in 2021, that proved to be a disruption to the France's operation. French president announced in June 2021 that France will pull out the troops in a phased manner, not at once, but in a phased manner, so that all of a sudden militancy doesn't occur. In November 2022, he announced that Operation Barkhane had formally ended. So this was because of the protests that were going on in these countries against France's presence. And these are not only the militant groups, even a democratically elected government wasn't happy with France. Countries in the Sahel region have a large percentage of population that is below the line of poverty because of geographical conditions as well. Also, global warming is around 50% greater in the Sahel region. That means more poverty. When there is economic vacuum, it will be filled with militancy because it is easier to get militants just with a meager amount of money. And it suffered the worst drought anywhere on the planet, most of the countries here. A staggering 90% decline is there on the surface of Lake Chad in the past 40 years. Efforts are being made to stop the loss of main source of fresh water to 40 million people across 4 countries. Whenever there will be a disruption, not only political, but climate-wise as well, it will be easy for groups such as Al-Qaeda, ISIS, to generate human resources for themselves. Just for a meager sum of money, they will be able to get a lot of human resources for terror activities. And that is why we need to ensure that wherever it is possible, we can do economic upliftment through proper resources. Now, as I told you that this is a NATO-style alliance, this alliance documents Article 6 is much like NATO's Article 5. NATO's Article 5, what does it say? An attack on any one of the member of the NATO will be considered as an attack on all, and that is why it is an alliance. So, it also says, similarly, Article 6 of the alliance, like Article 5 of the NATO, any attack on one or more signatory states will be considered as an attack on all. Also, any attack on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of one or more contracted parties will be considered an aggression against the other parties. Now, this is an open invitation to other states in the Sahel to join it, so that their security can be preserved. It also binds the 3 countries to work together to prevent rebellion, not outside attack but inside attacks, armed rebellions as well. The Article 4 of the document says combating terrorism in all forms and organized crime as common area of the alliance. So that will also help the junta of these particular countries to put a curb on armed resistance going on in their own country. So that is another thing. Also, these countries can have a common you can say a common defense and a common against those particular groups in one country or the other which have signed this particular pact. Now, military pacts, this is a succession, we can call it. Earlier, there were military pacts signed between the three countries. The three countries be Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. That allowed Mali and Burkina Faso to send troops to Niger's territory in the event of any military aggression against its rulers. Why was that? Because ECOWAS said, if Niger doesn't go back to its democracy, we are going to attack it. So this is kind of a succession. Now ECOWAS here becomes a little, it will of course think not once, not twice, but many times before attacking Niger. So Niger has got the best of it. Mali has also got better than Niger. We will get into that. So ECOWAS is a group of these many countries consisting of Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Niger and Cape Verde as well. But there are certain countries that have been sanctioned or they have been suspended because of coup. As you can see, the darker orange ones, that is Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea, they have been suspended from the group of ECOWAS. ECOWAS is generally an economic group, so that there could be an economic welfare of all the ECOWAS members. And there were others which have been sanctioned. So you can see how Sahel region is very tumultuous and disturbed. Alright, moving on. Now joint action will be taken against terrorist groups who are operating in their countries and also to secure their borders. Alliance will be a combination of military and economic efforts, both. Not only military but also economic. Remember, because UPSC can ask you, this is pertaining only to the military measure, but no, it is economic as well. Our priority is the fight against terrorism in three countries. Now the G5 Sahel is already dead. Dead because after Mali's departure, even before the coup, Niger's democratically elected government said that we are not going to be reliant on G5 anymore because G5 is not operational. France was forced to withdraw its troops from Mali and Burkina Faso thereafter. Mali has also asked the UN peacekeeping mission MINUSMA to leave the country. Okay, I hope you understood this. Now, who has benefited the most? Mali has gained the most. Niger of course has gained a lot because now it is secure against an ECOWAS attack. Mali is set to gain the most because Mali, in addition to fighting terrorist links such as Qaeda and ISIS, it will also be able to curb the hostilities that have grown because of the Tuareg armed group. Now Burkina Faso is going to lead it because it has somewhat stable military junta as compared to others. Now let's talk about a prelims question for which you have to answer in the comment segment. Which of the following countries is not a member of the ECOWAS? Guinea, Ghana, Senegal, Algeria. Okay. Tell me about it in the comment segment. Let me take the names of those students who have answered the last question correctly so that you can answer this one as well. So yes, one only was the correct answer and many of you have answered it correctly. Priyadarshan, Shubham, Ritu. This is not a Hindi channel, Abhinav. You can subscribe to StudyIQ IAS Hindi, okay? Okay, thank you, Invincible India. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay updated and answer this as well.